thank you to Phyllis, because you guys have given us an amazing tool as journalists, and I use Twitter every day, and I'm thankful that someone came up with it. And I really do think it will change the world, so congratulations. Now back to old school media. Lloyd Siegel may well be the most indispensable person in NBC News. The common answer to almost any question asked every day at NBC News is, I don't know, ask Lloyd. From breaking news, to sports cut-ins, to local weather conditions, as if he's supposed to know conditions in Topeka at all times, all we do is pick up the phone and call 2824 Lloyd Siegel. Lloyd is part of every single conversation, discussion, and debate that takes place inside 30 Rock. He's a quiet and kind, but incredibly effective member of the NBC News community, and is a beloved and integral part of our family. Now I think we're watching the video.
TV3 Lloyd Siegel, NBC News. The state is looking at rising Blue Cross rates and bring about the story this evening on NBC News 890.
Lloyd and I go way back. I first arrived in Washington in the summer of 1973 to cover Watergate, and he was one of my White House producers.
It is clear that President Nixon is actively considering resignation.
Lloyd was a completely dedicated producer, and he was enormously helpful to me.
I first met Lloyd when President Ford was coming through Cleveland. I was news director, Lloyd was the White House producer. We started working together on something called Segment 3. Lloyd came from Washington to New York to be a field producer.
Then he became the domestic producer for Nightly News when I was doing that. And then he moves into a very important role. He becomes the link between what we do at 3 Rockefeller Plaza and all of our affiliates.
We started downsizing our news gathering efforts. Lloyd saw this as an opportunity to try to harness the manpower of our affiliate body. So he really was kind of an early cutting edge of reorienting how we do our news gathering for the network.
The first time I worked with Lloyd was actually before I joined NBC. I was still working at KYW in Philadelphia, and Lloyd was this disconnected voice on the phone who was the voice of NBC elections. He was the guy in New York who could tell us in affiliate land what was going to happen on election night and how we could work together.
He always understood that NBC News was only as good as the station.
Lloyd knows what's going on in every city in America. I don't know how he does it, but when he finds out about something that would be of interest and important, Lloyd has got a way to get everyone together and get that information disseminated.
Lloyd and I have had the great privilege to work alongside the NBC affiliate, and that partnership has really been something that we've brought to bear with great effect many times over the years.
You'll be shocked to know that network news is often a little preoccupied with ourselves. Lloyd has this wonderful ability of having us think about some other things. Think about how our programs resonate across the country and in these newsrooms that are so important to the NBC network.
Because of the relationships that Lloyd has been able to build over the years with the stations, NBC News benefits each and every day.
He very quietly and very effectively gets things done.
He understands the importance of journalism and helping to inform our public.
Lloyd's always been someone you can turn to.
Lloyd has been consistently a pleasure to work with.
He's a good man. Good man to his core.
Well, it's been a pleasure to know you not just as a colleague, but as a friend, and this award is deeply and richly deserved.
I've been to this dinner many times. I've never had so much fun. It's a great thing. Anyway, thank you, Alex, and thank you to the RTDNA and RTDNF for this honor. Congratulations to Candy and Robert. like to make it very clear why you're up here. As for me, it's probably the first time that the First Amendment Award has been given to someone mostly because they have very highly developed phone skills. Forgive me one personal story. In 1967, when I was a sophomore at Ohio State, another First Amendment. Yes. Thank you, Rob Benny. In 1967, when I was a sophomore at Ohio State, another First Amendment Service Award winner, the great Marty Haig of Belo, hired me as a summer intern when he was news director of WKYC in Cleveland. Now, at that interview, he asked me what I wanted to do with my life. And I told him that I was interested in journalism, but really wanted to go to law school. Why that seemed like a good idea at the time when I was applying for a job at WKYC. Beyond me. Marty gave me what turned out to be the most insightful advice I have ever received. And he told me twice because I pushed back. I really want to be a lawyer. If you take this internship, you will never go to law school. So here I am, 40 years later, with this very long summer internship at NBC. and a wife and our daughter who are both lawyers. So, my parents in heaven are thinking, well, at least we got almost what we wanted. So thank you to them and thank you to NBC News. NBC has given me an exciting and rewarding and fulfilling career and opportunity to grow with the industry and work with smart, creative, and caring colleagues. Bob Horner, Diane Fest, and I live at the intersection of local news and national coverage. It's a great place to be. It's been a great vantage point to view what's going on in our business, which brings me to the First Amendment. And that is, what is the point of having a First Amendment if you don't do something really good with it? To that end, what has been most gratifying to me is what NBC News and our NBC stations around the country have done to expand the horizon of what it means to be in the broadcast news business. When I started at NBC, you could cover the news in the field, or you could work at Nightly Today or Meet the Press, but that was it. Look at what's happened since. Dateline and Rock Center, MSNBC, CNBC, Weather Channel, Telemundo, NBCnews.com, along with NBCLatino.com and thegrio.com, a robust social media conversation which we rely on Twitter for significantly. Democracy Plaza, Diane Festa's work on the Education Nation project, Bob Horner's enhancement of what News Channel provides to our stations every single day. It's unfettered journalism which has helped to foster the explosion of so much coverage in so many forms. Now look at what some of our colleagues tonight in our local markets around the country have accomplished with reporting that gives meaning to the First Amendment right. The Hearst Station, 7 straight years of Cronkite Awards for political journalism. Its commitment project guarantees voters access to candidates and keeps an eye on the winners after they take office. Belo's Cronkite for political coverage this year and for all those DuPonts and Murrows and Peabody Awards for great investigative projects at its stations. In addition to its local Cronkite, Gannett has had an ongoing effort to hold public officials accountable. The Redcoat Report, I love that part. The Redcoat Reporters in Buffalo flooding the zone with reporting on local budgets. In Phoenix, fighting for a year to access videotape to prove prison guards have let a mentally ill inmate leave to death rather than help him. Raycom has been using freedom of information inquiries to break loose how taxpayers' money is being spent. In Louisville, they've secured a Google grant to investigate the demographics of those arrested there. I'm sure you've noticed that so many of the stations who come to the Murrows or to the DuPonts or the Peabodys happen to be leaders in their markets. It's not for nothing that one of the first things that Valerie Staub did when Comcast took over NBC was to bet big on investigative journalism at all 10 of the owned stations. She's got 61 people working on those kinds of stories now, and coverage alliances with such organizations as ProPublica, the California and Florida Centers for Investigative Journalism, and New Jersey Watchdog.org. But what's next? We know that we will live more and more on mobile, but what about the coverage? What happens in markets where the local newspaper is challenged, losing staff and reducing days of publication? What business plan can the stations there use to cover developments and uncover wrongdoing in City Hall and state capitals that the papers used to do? What are the partnerships we need to continue that coverage? How do we make those local issues compelling enough to hold TV viewers, or at least a valued part of our website? Answering those questions, I hope, will be the next way that we will do something really important and necessary with the First Amendment. I can hardly wait to see what happens next. On behalf of NBC News, the NBC-owned stations, and our NBC affiliate partners across the country,